السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الفاتحة للرحمن الرحيم. يا حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نويت تعلم وتعلم وتذكر وتذكير والعفو والانتباه والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير والاتباع جميع ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. So, okay, this ta'lim Risalatul Jami'ah is a continuation of the Sujud Sahwi part 1. So now we're going for part 2. It's supposed to be live, but I apologize for the blunders that happened. There was some problems with the sound. So anyway, we're gonna just proceed. We are at okay, Asbab Sujud Sahwi. The reasons for Sujud Sahwi. So the reasons for Sujud Sahwi, you can break it down into two general categories. One is non-performance of something called for, and the other one is non-performance of something uncalled for. Non-performance of something called for means you didn't do something that is supposed to be done, and the other one is performance of something uncalled for. You are actually adding something which is not supposed to be there. So we will go through the details. So generally, it can be broken down into 4 categories, into details. So the first category is doing something that will nullify the prayer if done intentionally, but not absent-mindedly, unintentionally. Example, it's like eating or speech in small amounts. Yeah, speech in small amounts, eating in small amounts, or like lengthening the i'tidal, or sitting between 2 prostrations, the sujud baina sajdatain. All these are considered something that actions that are considered will nullify the prayer if done intentionally, but if you do it absent-mindedly or unintentionally, it doesn't nullify the prayer. Okay, generally we're gonna break down again categories of actions which can nullify the prayers. The first category is it will nullify the prayer if done intentionally but not absent-mindedly or due to ignorance. Example, clearing of throat or tanahnuh, and other minute defects. Minute defects are things like lengthening the unaware of certain rulings which are very complicated amongst the masses and amongst even the learned ones. We have some knowledge of prayer, but not too deep. These are all considered ma'fu, is forgiven to not know all this. Now for this category, you will sujud. You will do the sujud sahwi if done absent-mindedly or due to ignorance. But if you do it intentionally, then it will nullify the prayer. Second category, nullify the prayer if done intentionally or due to ignorance, but not absent-mindedly. Yeah, you do something intentionally or due to ignorance, but not absent-mindedly. Example, adding or omitting of any integrals of the prayer. So if you do this intentionally, it will nullify the wudu, the salah. It will nullify the prayer, but if you do it unintentionally or absent-mindedly or due to ignorance, if you do it due to ignorance, it will not nullify the wudu. Sorry. So this one is this second category is it will nullify the prayer if done intentionally or due to ignorance. This will nullify the wudu. But if you do it unintentionally, it won't nullify the prayer. Example is like adding or omitting any integrals of the prayer. Like example, you add an extra ruku or an extra sujud. These are all integrals, arkan salah. You add them intentionally, it will nullify the prayer. Or due to ignorance, you don't know that there is, for example, you don't know there is 2 sujud, you do 1, or you do 3 instead of 2. All this will nullify the prayer. But if you do it absent-mindedly or unintentionally, you forgot or you are praying, for example, this will not nullify the prayer. For this category also, you will it's sunnah for you to sujud sahwi. The third category, nullify the prayer if done intentionally, absent-mindedly, or due to ignorance. It will nullify the prayer no matter how you do it, intentionally, absent-mindedly, or due to ignorance. An example will be excessive speech or excessive movements, or three consecutive movements, three consecutive movements or more. This will nullify the prayer. So, of course, there's no sujud sahwi. And the last category is something that will not nullify the prayer if done intentionally, absent-mindedly, or due to ignorance. So no matter what you do intentionally or absent-mindedly or due to ignorance, it will not nullify the prayer. An example is like less than 3 consecutive movements, or like moving your fingers. All this doesn't nullify the wudu, the prayer. Okay, or swaying a bit in your prayer. All these won't nullify the prayer, even if done intentionally. There is no sujud sahwi required here. Okay, so we will proceed. Category 2 is omitting some or all of the main sunnah of prayers. These are called ab'ad salah. Ab'ad salah is we can translate it as main sunnah of the prayers. All this, if you omit them, it will be sunnah for you to do sujud sahwi. Even if you omit a part of them, or even a letter, like a part of like, okay, we will see, even if omitted intentionally, intentionally or unintentionally, or due to juhul, due to ignorance. Main sunnah of prayers can be categorized under 3, can be split into 3 main parts. But if you actually can, some scholars even break it down into 20 parts. So the first part is the group of tashahud, first tashahud, and sitting in the first tashahud, and blessings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the first tashahud. So of course, if you break it down, the first tashahud is itself one, and sitting in it is another one. I mean the first tashahud, the recital of it is one, recital of the warid, dhikr warid, and the sitting of it is another one, and the blessings of the Prophet ﷺ in the tashahud is another one. So that's how you break it down. Second group is the kunut and the standing in the kunut, and the blessings of the Prophet ﷺ and his family and companions in the kunut. So if you drop any of these, it's sunnah for you to do sujud sahwu. The third group will be the blessings of the Prophet ﷺ, sending blessings to the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Al Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the last tashahhud. So of course you know that is sunnah, but if you omit that, it's sunnah for you to do sujud sahwu. Details on omitting kunut. Okay, this one we will go through. This is quite a lengthy details. We will go through details on omitting kunut and tashahud. I thought of giving this because it's really useful, but it's a bit long, so just bear with me. The first one, there are 4 categories. Details on omitting kunut. So how you break it down? This is number 1. If the kunut is omitted by an imam or a person praying alone, absent-mindedly or due to ignorance, he's not doing it intentionally, and he is an imam or a person who is praying alone, munfarid. What is the ruling? The ruling is he can return to the kunut if he recalls before he finishes his sujud. Before he finishes sujud, he can go back to the standing position and recite his kunut. What do you mean by finish his kunut? What do you mean by finish? I mean complete his sujud is actually, as we know, sujud requires 7 parts of the body to be 7 parts of our body to be on the ground. So the 2 feet and the two knees and 2 palms and our jabha, what is that? Forehead. So all this must be on the ground. Then you can see that the sujud is complete. And some scholars even differentiate that as long as your forehead reaches the ground, it's considered you have finished your kunut, your sujud, because there is an opinion which says that when you sujud, the only part that is required to be on the ground is the forehead. So if he returns to the kunut after finishing his sujud, that means once he has placed all the 7 parts that needs to be placed on the ground, even if he has not done the tumanina or he didn't press down, whatever, he just lay all these 7 parts, that means his sujud is completed. But of course not completed technically, because technically your sujud have to have tumanina. So if he returns to kunut after omitting the kunut and completing his sujud intentionally and with knowledge that if you return, it will nullify your prayer, then it is nullified. If he returns to kunut unintentionally, or let's say he forgot that he's in prayer, so he returned to do kunut, or he don't know the ruling that he's not supposed to come back to kunut position once he have finished his sujud. That means ignorance. He must go back to the sujud position, and sunnah to sujud sahwi after he has finished his before he give his salam. He must go back to the sujud position. He cannot he cannot return to the kunut. He must go back to the sujud position. And once he complete, he do sujud sahwi. Okay, the second scenario, if the kunut is omitted by an imam or a person praying alone, same, imam or a person praying alone, munfarid, praying alone, but this time he omit the kunut intentionally. So let's see, if intentionally, he cannot return to the kunut once he have reached the limit of ruku, or in another opinion, closer to sujud. It means once he is from he's from i'tidal and he's supposed to do kunut, but instead he sujud, and intentionally he does it intentionally. Now once this is i'tidal, kunut position, this is ruku and sujud. So once he reached the limit of ruku, or in another opinion, closer to sujud, that means he passed the ruku and passed the halfway through from the ruku and the sujud, you divide by 2 as an angle, so it's closer to sujud. When you reach that level, he cannot return to kunut. If he return intentionally, batal. It will nullify the wudu, the salah. If he intentionally returns to kunut after reaching this limit, either one, I mean, because there is differences, different opinions here. Both are, you can take either one. So if he returns, once he reach this limit, it will nullify the prayer. If he returns to the kunut unintentionally or due to ignorance, that means he was blurry and he unintentionally returned to kunut because he panicked. He missed the kunut and he sujud, and now he finished. He have placed the 7 parts of his body, where 7 parts of sujud down, and now he panicked and he unintentionally get up and return to kunut, or ignorance. He don't know that he's not supposed to return. In this case, he must go back to sujud, and sunnah for him to do sujud sahwu at the end. If he has not reached the limit of ruku, he can return to kunut. He's up here. He has not. He just bent a bit and have not reached the limit of ruku. Nearly ruku. Then he decide, oh, I want to do kunut now. Even though he actually he initially decide to omit kunut, but now he can return because he has not reached the ruku level, and no sujud sahwi is needed for this case. Number 3 is kunut is omitted by a ma'mum, not an imam, not a munfarid, a ma'mum, absent-mindedly or due to ignorance. A ma'mum, as you know, a ma'mum should follow the imam in all cases, but there are some areas where the ma'mum can omit certain things. So this for this case, if the kunut is omitted by a ma'mum absent-mindedly or due to ignorance, wajib for him to return to kunut, to follow the imam, mutlagan. This is according to Ibn Hajar. Ibn Hajar say no matter what you do, you must go back. You must go back to kunut, no matter what scenario. So we will go through the scenario. If he realize his mistake in his sujud, which is from kunut, then he's a ma'mum. He omit the kunut while the imam is actually doing the kunut. He didn't do the kunut, but he absent-mindedly or due to ignorance, he go and sujud. And he realized his mistake in his sujud. And the imam is still in the i'tidal, is still standing, or just made the first sujud. He must return to the i'tidal and catch up with the imam. The idea is for him, the ma'mum, not to be behind the imam from 2 rukun. He cannot be behind the imam 2 rukuns, 2 integrals. If he reach 2 integrals, it will nullify his Jamia'ah, his salah even. Without any udhr, he cannot be behind the imam more than 2. In fact, he cannot reach 2. If he realize his mistake and the imam is already getting up or just got up from the first sujud, the imam went down and he went down before the imam, and now the imam is getting down. the imam went down, and the imam is already getting up to do the jalsa baina sajdatain, julus baina sajdatain, just getting up or just got up, from the first sujud, he should continue to follow him. That means he is in sujud position now. He's already in sujud position because he overtook the imam. He didn't do the kunut absent-mindedly or due to ignorance. So now he's in sujud. Then the imam is now catching up on him. The imam is now in sujud also, and the imam is getting up or in the first sujud. Just getting up from the first sujud or in the first sujud, he should not continue. He should continue to follow him and not get back to i'tidal. I mean, he don't have to go back to i'tidal, because if he goes back, then the chances are he will be left by the imam by two rakaat, by two rukun. That's why we say don't go back. In fact, instead he have to follow the imam and instead repay one rakaat before ending his prayer. That means once the imam gives salam, exit the prayer, he get up and repay one more rakaat, because his rakaat just now was not counted due to his action of not following the imam. This is also by Ibn Hajar and Ramli, both agreed on this ruling, so no problem here. But if he makes intention to break away, he can also make intention to break away mufaragah from the imam after realizing his mistake. He realized, oh, I shouldn't have sujud. He did it absent-mindedly or due to ignorance. But then once in sujud, he realized that, oh, I should have. The imam is doing kunut. I should be there. But then he decide, okay, I don't want to get up, but I want to mufaragah. I want to break away from the imam. Can, valid, and he is already in sujud. He will need. This is according to Ibn Hajar. He will still need to return to i'tidal because his intention to break away is valid. Even though his intention to break away is valid, but his move during from the kunut to the sujud is not counted because he did it absent-mindedly and he's not following the imam. He did it absent-mindedly or through johul, through he was jahil, he was ignorant. So that action made him, according to Ibn Hajar, he have to, even his mufaragah is valid, but he have to get up again. Get to, let's say he made intention of mufaragah during sujud. Okay, valid. Now he's out of the he's out of the Jamia'ah prayer. He's not with the imam anymore. But now he still have to get up and do the i'tidal and then sujud. But another scenario will be he's in i'tidal and he made intention to break away from the imam during i'tidal before sujud. He niat mufaragah during i'tidal, and now he sujud before the imam sujud. He don't want to do the kunut. This is valid. In this case, he don't need to go up. He need to get back to i'tidal because he's consistent with the imam. He's following the imam, and he made the intention to break away from the imam during a valid move, not by sujud where he is not when he sujud absent-mindedly. That is not a valid move. But according to Imam Ramli, he's a bit easier. He's always, according to Ibn Hajar and Ramli, Imam Ramli always have a lighter ruling. So if the makmum is being caught up by the imam in the first sujud, that means the first sujud, he went to the first sujud. Now the imam catch up with him. Now he don't need to go back. But he must pay one rakaat after that. But if he decide to mufaragah during the sujud, then it's okay. According to Imam Ramli, it's okay to break away at that point. But Ibn Hajar say no, mutlagan must go up, must go back. So number four is kunut is omitted by a makmum intentionally. A makmum omitting kunut intentionally. It's not wajib for him to return to kunut. Just now it was wajib, right? Unintentionally, you have to go back because you're doing something. Your movement is unintentional. You are not aware of your movement or not following the imam. Now you are aware. In this case, you are aware. So it's okay for you to skip the kunut. You don't feel like doing kunut. Okay, you can skip. Not wajib to return. Not wajib for him to return to the kunut. He can continue with his sujud and wait for the imam there. He can choose to wait for the imam at the sujud, the first sujud, or can make intention to break away from the imam. Can mufaragah. In this case, if he mufaragah during the sujud, the first sujud, he intentionally sujud without doing the kunut, and now once he sujud, he say, I want to break away, I want to mufaragah. In this case, he can mufaragah without having to get back because his movement is valid. His movement from the i'tidal to sujud is valid. He purposely do it, purposely skip the kunut. But it's sunnah and it's better, it's afdal for him to return to i'tidal. Even after having intention to omit the kunut. It's sunnah. Some I've took down some problems associated with this kunut, because kunut, I mean sujud sahwi in kunut, there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of questions. So one of the scenario is if the imam omitted the kunut, imam omit the kunut, it is sunnah for the makmum to perform the kunut, because you don't have to follow the imam in kunut. If you are doing it intentionally, you can skip intentionally, or you can perform intentionally, even if the imam didn't perform the kunut. But if you are unintentionally, you are ignorant or absent-mindedly, then you have to follow the imam. The best is to follow the imam, of course. It's afdal. So if the imam omit the kunut, it's still sunnah for the makmum to perform the kunut. This is provided that he knows that he won't be behind the imam by two rukun actually. He's able to catch up with the imam at the integral sitting between two prostration. That's the maximum. If you are from kunut position and the imam skip, imam go direct, he go to sujud. From i'tidal he sujud, but you say that, oh, he skip, I want to do kunut. It's okay, you can do kunut, but you are given time. You are given time to not, you cannot be behind him by more than two. You cannot be behind him more than two integrals. So if you come from there, the maximum is before the imam reach the julus baina sajdatain, you have to be down in sujud already, your first sujud. Another scenario, another problem is if the makmum knows that the imam returned to the kunut position after reaching the complete sujud position. The imam have placed all the 7 parts to the ground, including his forehead, settled. That means his sujud is valid. That means he's completed his sujud. Then he must follow. He must not follow, because now the imam is doing something. Either he's doing it absent-mindedly or ignorant, or he purposely do it. If he purposely do it, then his salat is batal. What is it? It will nullify his prayer. But of course, you as imam, you as makmum, normally we will take it as, okay, he don't know, or he absent-mindedly do it. But you mustn't do it. You mustn't follow, because you know it's something wrong. It's something that he's not supposed to do. So we cannot follow. The makmum cannot follow. Instead, the makmum should wait for him, the imam, at the sujud. The makmum should wait for the imam at the sujud or mufaragah, break away from the imam. If he return intentionally, the makmum, If the makmum return intentionally, it will nullify his prayer. But if he return just following the imam because he also blur, he return to the kunut due to his ignorant or absent-mindedly. That means maybe he's just what is that? He panicked or he was sleepy. He's not attentive. He just flow. It's a flow. He's just going with the flow, and he absent-mindedly do it. Then he must return. Once he realize, he must return to sujud, but he won't break his prayer. Another scenario: make sujud sahwi if one recite the kunut in other than its place with the intention of kunut. If not intention for kunut, then no. One should make sujud sahwi if one recite the kunut in other than its place. That means with the intention of kunut. That means you are reciting Allahumma hdina fiman hadait wa afina fiman afait in your tashahud or in your sujud with the intention that this is kunut. This doesn't nullify your prayer even if you do it intentionally, but it's sunnah for you to do sujud sahwi. But if you recite Allahumma hdina fiman hadait wa afina fiman afait wa tawallana fiman tawallait in the sujud, let's say, with the intention of doa, because kunut is doa. So with the intention of just doa, you know it's not kunut and you are not doing kunut, but you know that is adkar from the kunut. So that is okay. Then no sujud sahwi is needed. So a pointer is kunut. For kunut, it's not wajib for makmum to follow imam in doing it or omitting it. Both. For both, you can follow when the imam does the kunut, you are not compelled to follow. It's not wajib for you to follow. But if he omit the kunut, you also are not compelled to follow. That means you can do. It's not wajib for the makmum to follow the imam or omit in doing it or omitting it. Both ways. Okay, now that's settled with the kunut. Now is the tashahud. Tashahud is a bit the same, generally about the same, but slight difference. So the first one, the first category, if the tashahud is omitted by an imam or a person praying alone, munfarid, and he does it absent-mindedly or due to ignorance. In this instance, he omitted the recital or sitting or both, any part of the tashahud. Even some words. Tahiyatul barakatuh salamatu taibatillah. Assalamualaikum ayuhan nabi warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. He just skip some. I mean the sunnah recital. If he have reached the acceptable standing position, because the acceptable standing position will be somewhere close to standing. This is standing. You can say this is standing. This is ruku. This is in between. Somewhere in between ruku and standing. This is acceptable as you can say this is standing, and you can start your Fatihah here. You don't need to wait to here. This is an acceptable standing position. So once you reach this position, you cannot what is that? You cannot return to tashahud. Yeah. Okay. Acceptable standing position. That means the position where you can start your Fatihah. Remember you are from tashahud, and he got up and reached acceptable standing position. That means he's closer to standing. He's not really straight yet, but he's somewhere almost there. Compared to the ruku, he's not here, he's there. He's closer to the standing, or in between bowing, standing. He's in between. You are considered there already. You have reached the limit. Once you reach the limit, he cannot return to tashahud, because he is doing it absent-mindedly. Yeah, he's a person, an imam, or a person praying alone, absent-mindedly, or ignorance, or ignorant of the ruling. If he does so intentionally, that means he does so, he have skipped the tashahud, and he skipped the tashahud, and he have reached what is that, the level of close to standing, he cannot go back to tashahud. So if he go back to tashahud with the knowledge of the prohibition, his prayer will be nullified. So what he must do is go straight and carry on with your prayer. Skip because you did it accidentally, absent-mindedly. So there's a slight difference between tashahud and kunut. If he returns to the tashahud after reaching the above limit, absent-mindedly or due to ignorance, does not nullify the prayer, but he must return to standing immediately. If he returned to the tashahud after reaching the above limit, he reached the almost standing position, but he went back to tashahud absent-mindedly or due to ignorance, he don't know the ruling. Now, this does not nullify his prayer, but he must, once he recalled that he mustn't do that, he's not supposed to do that, he should stand straight away, immediately he stand, get back to standing position and continue with his prayer and skip the tashahud. And it's sunnah for him to sujud sahwu at the end of the prayer for this case. If he have not reached the minimum standing position, that means he from tashahud is a sitting position, and he, let's say, get up here, is closer to the sitting position. If he have not reached the minimum or closer to ruku, he's almost at ruku or at ruku, he's not there yet, he's somewhere here. In this case, if he have reached the position closer to standing compared to sitting, sujud sahwu if he have reached the position closer to standing compared to sitting. Standing compared to sitting. Sitting, not ruku, sitting. So you can say that somewhere halfway between standing and sitting. Standing and sitting, halfway, you can have the halfway. And if it's closer to sitting, you don't have to sujud sahwu. But if it's closer to standing, then sujud sahwu. But of course, closer to standing, that means, but still before the limit of the acceptable standing position. That means he reached somewhere there, just before that limit, he realized that, I want to do tashahud. So because he did it absent-mindedly, right? He got up absent-mindedly. So he can go back as long as he have not reached that closer to standing position. So he can go back. But now it's sunnah for him to sujud sahwu because he's now closer to the standing position, but have not reached the limit of the acceptable standing position. So of course, all this is based on zon. You wouldn't know exactly where you are, but you can estimate. So it's based on estimate, and you're okay. I think I'm here. I have 70%, and I'm there already. I hit the limit. That means you hit. You don't need to have yakin. Zon is enough to establish all these limits. Okay, number 2 is if the tashahud is omitted by an imam or a person praying alone intentionally. The tashahud is omitted by an imam or a person praying alone, munfarid, intentionally. He purposely, intentionally omit the tashahud. So what does he do? If he have not reached a position closer to standing, qiyam, he have not reached the position closer to standing position, and is closer to sitting position or in between this, he can return to tashahud. This is the mu'tamad. He have not reached to a position closer to standing, and standing is here, He have not reached somewhere here, and it's closer to sitting position. Sitting position. He's closer to this, or in between. So in between this, you can draw an imaginary line. So you are closer to the lower part. That means you are closer to the tashahud, the sitting position. So now he can return to tashahud. This is the mu'tamad. But you don't have to sujud sahwu, because you have not done something wrong. You have not committed to an integral of the prayer. But if you have the reason why is sometimes haram to go back, because once you have perform rukun is wajib, and you cannot go back to, you cannot drop the wajib for sunnah. As you know, tashahud awal is sunnah, kunut is sunnah, so we cannot leave the farad, the rukun that we have already get into, and leave it to perform the sunnah. That's not possible. So that's why it's sometimes it's not is haram to go back. And if intentionally you go back, you will nullify. But in this case, we can go back. If you have not reached the qiyam, you have not reached the qiyam position or closer to the qiyam position, you have not reached. So in this case, you have not performed anything wajib. You have not reached the fardu yet. So do not sujud sahwi, as he had not reached the position closer to standing. But if he have reached, they cannot. If you have reached a position closer to standing and return to tashahud intentionally and with knowledge of the prohibition, his prayer will be nullified. If unintentionally or ignorant, that he's not aware of the ruling that he's not supposed to go back, then he must return to standing if he realize. If he don't realize, then yeah, it's ma'fu. In Majmu' and some other opinions, even if he have reached closer to standing position and returned to tashahud intentionally, he omitted intentionally. Now he wants to return intentionally, and he have reached the standing position. This will not nullify his prayer, even though he had intentionally planned to omit the tashahud. This is opinion of some scholars. And one of them is in Majmu'. Okay. Number 3, if the tashahud is omitted by a ma'mum absent-mindedly or due to ignorance, wajib for him to return immediately to tashahud and follow the imam once he realized his mistake, because he's a ma'mum and he did it absent-mindedly or due to ignorance. So in this case, he must get back to the tashahud and follow the imam. If he do not return immediately aware and he's aware of his mistake, and he also do not break away mufaragah from the imam, his prayer will be nullified. If he's not aware of the prohibition, then no, it won't be nullified. So he can also mufaragah. He can break away. If he don't want to go back, he can mufaragah. If he realize his mistake in his qiyam and the imam is still in tashahud, he already went up and he realized his mistake now at the standing position. He must return to tashahud and catch up with the imam. That means the imam is getting up already. He must get down first, do the tashahud, then get up again. If the imam is there, he should go down and do the tashahud, and then follow on from there, follow the imam. If he realizes his mistake and the imam is already getting up or just about to get up from the tashahud, he's in qiyam, he's in standing position, and the imam is in tashahud. So now he is aware, oh, I should have done that. I should have followed the Imam in the tashahud. So what does he do? Because the Imam is already getting up, so no point he go down. So instead, he just wait for him there, and the Imam will get up. So he will continue with the Imam from there, and at the end of the prayer, he top up with another raka'ah, because his raka'ah just now, the one he have omitted the tashahud, is not valid because he didn't follow the Imam. The last one, the last is if the tashahud is omitted by a ma'mum intentionally. The ma'mum intentionally omit tashahud. It is not wajib for him to return to tashahud. It's sunnah for him, even if he had fully stood up. He just intentionally want to skip the tashahud. Even if the Imam does the tashahud, he want to skip, he want to get up. It's okay. But it's still sunnah for him to get down, to follow the Imam. Even if he have fully stood up. If the Imam omitted the tashahud and the ma'mum decide to perform tashahud, he should not be behind him in reading more than the minimum recital of the tashahud. The minimum recital of the tashahud, that's the length given. You cannot be behind the Imam more than that. Whether the Imam made a brief sitting before getting up or not, because there is a brief sitting, the julus istiraha. He before getting up from the, you get up from the sujud, before going up to the standing position, to the qiyam, you sit for a while. This is called jalsatul istiraha. It's a resting interval, resting, sitting, a brief sitting. So whether the Imam does that or not, he still have only this time, the minimum of tashahud, the minimum recital of tashahud. That's the maximum time he have to perform his tashahud. This is if the Imam omit the tashahud and the ma'mum want to do. So that's the Imam, the timing is given by the timing given to the ma'mum is this. But another opinion say, if the ma'mum can be behind the Imam, not exceeding 2 rukun, 2 integrals of the prayer. That means the Imam got up at standing, and the ma'mum still want to do tashahud. So he now have 2 rukun. One is standing, and the next one is ruku. So by the time Imam ruku, he must get up. Before the Imam complete his ruku, he must get up. There's a timing given. This is provided if the Imam made a brief sitting before getting up. So yeah, in Madhab Syafi'i, it's sunnah for the brief sitting, and some say it's not sunnah because there are narration that Rasulullah SAW made the brief sitting, the jalsatul istiraha, and some say that it's just because towards the when he was older and he was sick or something. So that's why he did the julus istiraha. But anyway, it's still sunnah. According to some scholars, it's still sunnah. But some scholars say it's not sunnah. If the Imam stood up straight after the sujud, omitting the tashahud. If the Imam stood up straight after the tashahud, omitting the tashahud. If the Imam stood up straight after sujud, the Imam sujud, and now he omit the tashahud, he get straight up, and then he returned back to the tashahud. The ma'mum should not follow because now he have stood up straight, so he have performed a fardu, a rukun, standing, so he cannot get back for the tashahud awal. Tashahud awal is a sunnah, so you cannot go back. So if the ma'mum knows this, the ma'mum shouldn't follow, and if he follow aware of the mistake, he will nullify his prayer. Instead, the ma'mum should wait for him at the standing position or break away from the Imam. To break away is afdal because there are many scenarios, like I said just now. he can be doing that intentionally, where his prayer will be nullified, or unintentionally, or juhul, ignorant. So if the makmum follow the imam aware of his mistake, he will also nullify the prayer. But if the makmum is also blur, also jahil, ignorant, or absent-mindedly follow, then it won't break his prayer. If the imam did the above, the same thing, the imam skipped the tashahud and went up straight, and now the makmum is getting up from sujud, still getting up, then the makmum shouldn't wait for him at the sujud position, or the shouldn't wait for him at the sitting position, because that's adding another extra. Jasa istirahah is just a brief one, just kadar tumaninah, or you cannot do too long. So he should not wait for him there. He should get up and wait for him at the standing position. This is assuming the imam did it absent-mindedly or ignorant. Or the makmum can also break away from the Jamia'ah, from the imam. This is afdal, because there are what is it? The makmum, the imam is doing something that is, if done intentionally, will nullify the salah. So yeah, we continue to the category 3, the third category of the reasons of sujud sahwu. So we have done 1, 2, and the breakdown of category 2. Now is category 3. The third category of when you is sunnah to do sujud sahwu is reciting verbal integral, rukun gauli of the prayer, other than in their places. Like just now when we say kunut being recited in sujud, all or even part of them, or you repeat Fatihah. This is also called another reason for sujud sahwu. You repeat Fatihah even in the qiyam position, the standing position, or tashahud. Fatihah, tashahud, blessings of the Prophet SAW. Let's say in the qiyam position, and you say Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, or you say at-tahiyyatu mubarakatuh salawatu barakatullah in the qiyam or in the sujud. All this you have transferred the rukun gauli, the verbal integrals of the prayer to other than their places. When you do this, it's sunnah for you to sujud sahwu, even if you do it intentionally, and it doesn't nullify your prayer, unless biniyatu tala'ub, that means you are playing around with the prayer. Then anything that niyatu tala'ub is you are playing around, playing a fool with the prayer, you're making a joke of the prayer, and all that will nullify the wudu, and in fact can lead to kufur. Okay, category 4. He have doubts in whether one has whether he has performed a physical integral, rukun fi'li of the prayer, with probability of doing extra rukun. Okay, scenario: if one has doubt whether he had bow or not, or sujud or not. So okay, if the scenario is whether he had bow or not, he's now in the i'tidal, in the standing position. He is in doubt whether this is the standing position before the bow, or is it the i'tidal after the bow. So now what he must do is take the yakin position. Which one is his yakin? The yakin is, the stronger opinion is he have not done it. Just in case he have done it, so he must take the more shadid ruling. So if you ask yourself, have I done this or not? So the yakin is you have not done it. So you do it. And at the end of the sujud sahwu, at the end of the prayer, sujud sahwu before you exit the prayer. Same goes if one have any doubt in sujud or extra raka'ah or tumak like a good example is a latecomer, a masbuk coming, and the imam is in rukuk. So he hurriedly rushing and Allahu Akbar straight away rukuk with the imam. Then imam get up, straight away get up. Then he has doubt. Did I get the tumak nina or not with the imam? In this case, he have to pay an extra raka'ah just in case he didn't get the tumak nina. That means he didn't get the raka'ah. Because to get the raka'ah, you must get the tumak nina, rukuk with tumak nina with the imam. Rukuk with the imam. That means rukuk with agal rukuk is tumak nina. You must get the tumak nina, the slight timing of at least subhanallah. That's the length. So in this case, you repeat extra, you pay extra one raka'ah, and at the end of it, you do sujud sahwi because you have doubts. And same thing if you have doubt in raka'ah. Is this the third? If you're praying Isha, is this the third or fourth raka'ah? So you take it as third because the yakin is you have done three, confirm, because it's 3 or 4, but confirm you have done 3. You cannot say, is it 3 or 4? I confirm done 4. Cannot. So 3 or 4, confirm you have done 3. So you just add one more extra. So only do the sujud if the doubt was not resolved before exiting the prayer. But if it's resolved, let's say, if it's resolved before exiting the prayer and proven that he had actually performed an extra rukun, then perform the sujud sahwi. If proven that he had not, then do not perform. The scenario is like this. I have doubts. I'm praying Isha. Okay, is it a 3 or 4 raka'ah? Am I in my third or fourth raka'ah? So I take it as third. So I do another raka'ah. So at the end, during my sujud or during my tahiyat or anytime before after doing the extra raka'ah and before exiting my prayer, I realized that actually I did 4, correct ah? So that was my 4 raka'at. So in this case, I have resolved the problem, and I know that I have not done an extra raka'ah. So in this case, I don't need to sujud sahwu. But in another scenario, 3 or 4, then I decide I must take 3. I must take 3. That means I do another one, 4. Then in my tashahud, I recall, actually I did 4 just now. So I added an extra one. So that was the 5th raka'at. So in this case, I do sujud sahwi. And that's the only difference. But if it's still not resolved, that means until you tashahud and you want to salam also, you still, is it 3 or 4? 3 or 4. But you did extra one, right? So to play safe, that means you have gotten 4 or 5, right? So in this case, you still sujud sahwi, even if you have not resolved. Okay. Another question is, when does a ma'mum do sujud sahwi for himself? It's sunnah for a ma'mum to sujud sahwi when the ma'mum is not praying with the imam. When the ma'mum is not praying with the imam. And then, when the ma'mum is not praying with the imam, he was praying alone, and he did an act which calls for sujud sahwi. Yeah, he did. He's praying alone. I'm praying alone. And let's say, I spoke a bit. Someone called my name and I said, now. Then I realized that I was in prayer. So, okay, then I kept quiet and continued my prayer. It doesn't nullify my salah because I spoke a bit, just a bit, and absent-mindedly. It's not intentionally. If I do it intentionally, then it will break my prayer. So he was praying alone and did an act which called for imam, which called for a sujud sahwi. He then joined a Jamia'ah prayer with the imam. That means he's praying alone and he saw a Jamia'ah, then he niyat, I follow the imam. I want to be in that Jamia'ah. or is close to him, then he just walk a bit slowly. He reach the Jamia'ah and he join the Jamia'ah. So at the end of the Jamia'ah, he's praying alone. He was praying alone. He did a mistake that caused for a Sujud Sahwu, and then he joined the Jamia'ah. And at the end of the Jami'ah, once before he gives salam, it's sunnah for him to do Sujud Sahwu. Because why? Because it's sunnah for the ma'mum to Sujud Sahwu when the reason that he did is not carried by the imam. The imam doesn't carry, and the imam will only carry the whatever mistakes if you are praying with him, and whatever mistake you do at the time when you are praying with the imam, then you cannot sujud sahwu unless the imam sujud sahwu because of his mistake, and you sujud together with him. But if he doesn't, then you don't follow, and you cannot follow. I mean, you cannot sujud. Let's say you are praying a Jami'ah and you did something, you spoke a bit, but the imam doesn't speak. So the imam doesn't do any mistake. You didn't do any mistakes, but you did in the Jami'ah. Then in this case, you cannot sujud sahwu at the end. Unless the imam sujud for his reason, then you follow. So in this case, it's sunnah for the ma'mum to sujud. And another scenario is, he is a masbuk, he is a latecomer, and he joins the Jami'ah. He joins the Jami'ah. He joins the Jami'ah, and Imam gave salam and exited the prayer. He continued his prayer, and when he, after he continued, once the Imam gave salam and he continued his prayer, he did an action that calls for sujud sahwu. In this case, at the end of his prayer, sujud sahwu. Another masalah, another problem is, must a masbuk do sujud sahwu? Must a latecomer do sujud sahwu? Okay, it is valid for him when it will be wajib if the imam does it. If the imam does it, even though he don't know, he didn't see, let's say he joins the imam at the tashahud, so of course he don't get any raka'ah with him, so he joins in at the tashahud, isya prayer, so he have to repay 4 raka'ah. And at the end, before the salam, the imam made sujud sahwu. He have to follow, wajib, wujuban, he have to follow. But sunnah for him to do a sujud sahwu again at the end of his prayer, because he followed the imam just now, and the imam did some mistake, some reason to sujud sahwu, and he sujud sahwu, and he was there, the ma'mum was there, the masbuk was there, so he followed the imam and followed the sujud sahwu, and he continued with another 4 raka'ah. And once he finished his 4 raka'ah, before exiting, before salam, it's sunnah for him, the ma'mum, to do another 2 sujud sahwu. And it can also be invalid for the masbuk. Which scenario is? The scenario is it will be invalid if he joined the Jami'ah after the imam finish the sujud sahwu. It means the imam finish at the tashahud, then he continued, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, he's doing sujud sahwu. Then he joined, this guy joined, just before the imam gives salam, just before the imam gives salam. And the imam gives salam, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So he got the Jami'ah for a while. The masbuk got to be in the Jami'ah for a while, but he didn't get to do the sujud sahwu with the imam. In this case, after that, he will continue with his prayer, and at the end of his prayer, yani the ma'mum, it's not valid for him to do sujud sahwu, because he got nothing to do with him. And if he does it, he will nullify his prayer. So, Allah alam. So that's it. Hopefully, we have covered enough for the what is it? For sujud sahwu. and hopefully it's beneficial for all of us. And if you have any questions on regarding Sujud Sahwu, you can ask in the comment, and inshallah I will try to answer them. If I don't know, I will try to get the answer. Inshallah. Allahu alam. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا ربي علمنا الذي ينفعنا ربي فقنا وفق أهلنا وقرابة لنا في ديننا مع أهل كنت أنت وذكر ربي وفقنا وفقهم لما ترضى قولا وفعلا كرما ورزق كل حلالا دائما وأخل أدعياء علماء ونحظى بخير ونكفى كل شر ربنا أصلح لنا كل شؤون وأجر ربنا منك العيون واغفر وأن ربنا كل دين قبل أن تأتينا رسول منون واغفر استر أنت أكرم من ستر وصلاة الله تمشى مستقاما إلى الحج دعانا والوفاء بكتاب فيه للناس شفاء وعلى الآل الكرام شرفاء وعلى الصحب وعلى الصحب مصابيح الغراب اللهم اهدنا بهداك واجعلنا ممن يسار في رضاك ولا تولنا وليا سواك ولا تجعلنا ممن خالف أمرك وعصاك وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين وأنا منكم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.